Stibbs truly is dead. His open is gone and everything. I'm sorry.
Just figured it was going to make me weep, and that's why you didn't play it. You were afraid I'd start crying.
Well, yeah, and I forgot to tell Matt, our producer today, about all of that, and I was also distracted. It's Big Hair Mike Day on the program.
It does look pretty good, though.
It's poofy. It's very poofy on top.
It's because it was wet, and then I laid down.
Figured it was like shampoo and conditioner day. I do that once a week, and that's always the day of the week where my hair.
You wash your hair just once a week?
Just shampoo and conditioner it once a week. It's not very good for it. It dries it out.
Why don't you just use like Pert Plus, and then it's shampoo and conditioner all in one?
Yeah.
That's not good for your hair.
Says who?
It says people. Go look this up.
What people?
People who know what they're talking about.
Not the people at Pert Plus.
John, if I want to talk college baseball, I ask you questions. If I want to talk hair, I don't ask you questions. I know who to talk to.
I think he's taking shots at your hair.
No, John has good hair.
My hair.
He used to have good hair.
My hair is really. I just got mine cut.
Started trimming it all the time.
Today is College World Series hat day, so I decided not.
Look, I'll be a little honest. I used to have a dandruff problem. One of the reasons why was because I was shampooing and conditioning too much. I figured that out.
I've never heard this, man.
Oh yeah.
I use the Pert Plus all the time. Good stuff.
And I used it for years. I haven't had any issues.
Well, I'm happy for you guys, but some of us have dandruff issues. Josh Peterson here for the common man.
Would you say that you're head and shoulders above everybody else, Josh?
And that stuff's bad. I used that one time and made my dandruff worse. I was so frustrated. Bad times.
Well, I'm sorry that you're so blue. Selsun blue.
Also, that stuff smelled like garbage.
High VO5.
Yes, binging. Wow, Matt's chiming in now.
Hey, way to go, new guy.
So last Friday, the story came out in SI. Over the weekend, ESPN.com reported on the procedures that it sounds like Major League Baseball is going to be taking here in the not too distant future. We knew that there was this collection process going on, taking balls and studying them. They weren't going to punish anyone, but they just wanted to see, hey, how much tampering is going on in this sport? And I can't remember the exact word, but it's something to the effect of they were pretty shocked by the amount of baseballs that they had found had been tampered with. Should they have been?
I don't know. I mean, I think the fact that they're willing to act on this more quickly than they probably would have otherwise. I mean, listen, I think we talked about this last week even, right? And that they were, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, they figured to go a full year of collecting information, but they have enough apparently that, it's a big enough problem that they felt like they needed to address it last Thursday at the owners meeting. So I don't know if they should be shocked or shouldn't be shocked. I think the fact that they realized that it's as significant a problem, that they were listening, that the people thought it was a problem, that they investigated it and they found out it was a bigger problem than they thought. I think all of those things are positives in that they're going to be pretty proactive about it. And, I think that they're probably, I mean, are they late to the party? I guess a little bit. But in the same sense, they're moving much more quickly on this than they have with other potential scandals. And they're doing so at the behest of the players who seem to be much more interested in an even playing field than guys 30 years ago were.
Mike, speaking of acting quickly, is it because just the numbers are so high, or do you think it's, I guess what else would explain the need for them to feel like they need to respond to this as fast as they have?
So I think that article did a really good job of explaining statistically, just like to outline it, right? So we're on pace for the lowest batting average since 1968. Fastballs in the middle of the plate. So take that middle, if you see the 3x3 box, right? Middle, the 5, the center square, Charles Nelson Riley, with fewer than 25. Paul Lind, yes. Fewer than 2,500 revolutions per minute. Any fastball in that spot gets hit at a 330 clip. Over 2,500 RPMs, it gets hit at 285. So there's a 55-point difference in batting average right there, or 45, whatever it is. It's a lot. And I think that what they've been able to determine right away is that, listen, it's tougher to hit fastballs with better carry. It's tougher to hit breaking balls with more spin. Now, I don't know that it's necessarily driving all of the strikeout numbers in baseball, but there certainly seem to be some connection between it and where the swing and miss is right now in baseball. And so I think that they realize with that data and with the ability to guys increase their spin rates between 300 and 400 RPMs potentially by using, stuff that's supposed to be designed for power lifters who are carrying the Atlas stone. Like that's pretty significant. So I think that's why the time is now. Listen, they've got their big issue is that the pace of action and the amount of time that the ball is in play are huge issues for baseball right now, and this helps to alleviate some of it.
Mike, I'm wondering about the people you talk to within the sport or even your audience and maybe how their views have shifted even over the last week, because like John and I discussed this, I think Thursday, and the story comes out Friday. And I did a 180 on, well, hey, this has always been a part of the game. And then you read the story and like the lead of it's like the guys are picking up the ball and it's not dropping out of their hands. It's like, oh my goodness. And then I think also the RPM comparison to the steroid era, it's just like, wow, I guess we were maybe viewing this a different way. How has it been like for your audience and the people you talk to?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, especially with people in baseball, it's that they recognize that this isn't just mixing rosin and sunscreen anymore, and that it's leading to driving this. And I think that's been the biggest thing, is that I don't think that there's anybody that's opposed to having something, whether it's an approved substance or something that's, a lighter weight concoction like the old Bullfrog sunscreen and rosin combination, to be able to give pitchers a little bit of feel and tack on the ball. So I don't think anybody has issue with that. When you're talking about manipulating the ball, then it's changing the rules of the game. And while this hasn't been enforced, it's been on the rule books for a long time. So you're enforcing the rule now. Now, we can argue about changing rules or changing enforcements mid-season, but it's clear that something needs to be done and that they feel like that they need to, like, immediately.
We mentioned yesterday through the ESPN article, kind of how this might look. You're talking about maybe a couple of checks for each starting pitcher, but up to 8 to 10 checks per game. How is this going to look? I mean, normally. Because we're not used to seeing anyone being checked unless there is an obvious, I remember back to the days of, Gaylord Perry and, putting his hands in his pockets, and who I don't remember if it was Perry, but somebody, put their hands out of their pockets and the Emery board goes flying.
That was Joe Necro was the Emery board.
That's who it was. But you saw that maybe once a year. That was it. Now we're talking about upwards of 8 to 10 times a game. And when does that happen? Is it when they come on the field? Is it when they come off the field? Is it just randomly in the middle of an at bat? How does this work?
Yeah, I think the thing is like you could check everybody before the game, but then you're concerned that they're going to put it on at some point. So I don't know. I mean, I think it could be as subtle as a second base umpire going over to a middle infielder and saying, hey, let me check out your glove, and if they see something, be like, just get a new glove. We need you to switch it out and handle it a little bit the way that Joe West did, in that they're going to take the equipment out of play, rather than deal with a suspension or something like that. Now, if it's somebody that's egregious in what they're doing, I have a feeling that there'll be penalties handed down. And we have pretty good, idea of what those penalties would look like. 8 to 10 game suspensions is what we have on the books right now, historically, right? Necro got 10 games. Kevin Gross got 10 games for sandpaper. I think Brian Mattis got 8 games. I think he was one of the last ones that was suspended. That was probably 6 years ago.
What did Sammy get for the corked bat?
10, I want to say. I think it was 10, maybe down to 8 on appeal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's 10 was the number growing up. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there's probably precedence in it, but I have a feeling it's going to happen at a time where it's not. Well, I don't know. I'm sure that there are some umpires that would probably like to parade in front of the television cameras to show it off. But for the most part, I think it'll happen in that kind of quiet time between innings.
With everything, though, pointing to this winter and the labor battle to come, what does the union have to say about these measures? I mean,
the players are certainly. I mean, there's a lot of the hitters are speaking out and saying, well, Josh Donaldson is a union member, and he has been pretty adamant about the fact that this is a huge issue. So I don't think that there's going to be a huge fight from the union on it. I mean, they may appeal suspensions here and there, but that's the role of the union on that. I mean, almost every suspension gets appealed by the union. So I don't know that they're going to have necessarily any huge issue with it. I mean, remember the steroid era, not that this is a perfect analog for the steroid era, but nothing changed in that until the players were willing to do something. And the players are the ones I think that are driving a lot of this frustration.
Yeah, I wonder what it's like inside of teams, Mike, where you got a pitching staff doing one thing that is, negatively affecting, in theory, the opposition's batting order. Meanwhile, you have a bunch of guys who are going to bat, and they know the exact same thing is happening on the other side.
Yeah.
I got to wonder.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Rooms. Yeah, right.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah,
pitchers and position players don't hang out all that much anyway. So, do
you think that we're going to look back and we're going to see like pre-June whatever stats and post-June whatever stats? Is this going to be like a real stark difference?
That's a really good question, and that's something that I'm kind of curious about because I don't know. I mean, so what happens if they go through all these changes and all of this, and the strikeout rate stays the same? What does it tell us? You know, I mean, I think more than anything, I'm just really interested to see where it goes from here. So, yeah, I think I'm curious to see like what the stats look like the first 2 weeks of June versus the last 2 weeks. If Buster Olney is right, and I don't doubt Buster on this, that June 14th is probably the beginning of the enforcement date. Like, how do things evolve over the summer? I think I'm really curious to see that as well.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to when Trevor Bauer gets pinched because he's the one that's seen quite the increase in spin rate, and
he was also the one that was shouting the loudest about this 4 years ago being an issue and saying just even the playing field, right? So,
well, he said if he got the chance to use some of the stuff they were using back then, he'd be the best pitcher in the game. And if you look at the stats, he's
now the best pitcher in the game.
He's kind of close to that. I mean, he's not Jacob deGrom, but he's pretty good.
Yeah,
no. It's not Corbin Burns either. I just saw that guy this weekend. Ooh, boy. With Milwaukee, Corbin Burns, man, his stuff overall might be better than DeGrom's. I realize that's sacrilege to say.
Hot take.
Holy cow.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed our good 2-month run there at the top of the
my goodness. Here we go. It's always all about you and your Cubs. There we go.
Look at his jersey. Look what he's wearing today.
No one cares about the Brewers.
Show him what you're wearing.
He knows. I've got the Jose Cardinal, jersey.
Yeah. Is that an official like Bill Madlock?
Oh no, it has his name.
It's got my name on the back. It's a customized one.
How old are you?
What's wrong with my own name?
You're now the second person to make fun of him for this.
It's my own name. Why?
And I wasn't the other person.
Why would I put someone else's name on the back? I put my name on the back.
Why would you at your age wear a jersey for something in a sport that you're not playing in?
I hope Severe is listening right now.
It's a shirt. I don't understand this whole fan shaming thing. Oh, I can't wear a ball cap? No. Chris Bryant wears a ball cap. You can't wear a ball cap.
No, you really should, because your hair doesn't look as good as you think it does.
Jeez. I mean, Josh is wearing a 1620 The Zone hat.
I'm on the 1620 The Zone team.
Not for long if you keep wearing that hat.
That's probably. I thought you were just going to say not for long.
Cover that dandruff.
Wow.
I have been experiencing a lot of turnover.
Are you still a big Virginia baseball guy?
No, I mean, I watched their game this morning, but I mean, I was that by proximity more than anything. I went down to UVA a bunch because it was the best program that was in the area when I lived in DC. I mean, it was in Maryland, and I like OC. Like Brian O'Connor's a great dude, so look, I'm happy for them. I felt so bad for the Old Dominion pitcher that threw the wild pitch. Like you could see. So what? I don't know how much you guys have talked about it, but ODU's up a run right to the top seed, kind of this upstart. They've never been to a super a run in the 8th. And back-to-back wild pitches. And before the second one, that kid was basically like, you could see he could not slow his breathing down on the mound. And I was like, oh, no, this is going to be bad. And then to win on Ortiz's walk-off, like it was a pretty thrilling end to pretty good regional.
This is going to be the first time, maybe ever. I didn't get a chance to go down and compare completely side to side, but this is the MLB draft is going to be in July this year around All-Star Game Week. I think this may be the first time ever that the draft is taking place after the College World Series. Typically, the draft happens usually during
Supers, right?
Usually around this time
this
of year.
Week. Yesterday would have been draft day. That's why the schedule was so light yesterday, is because they built the schedule before they moved the draft.
Do you think that could have any impact on the timelines or impact picks, or are we going to see a lot more scouts at the College World Series than we've seen in the past because there's still a month to go before the draft?
It's an interesting thought. I would think that if there are guys that they're really focused on, like if Vanderbilt gets there, your decision makers in the top 6 or 7 are probably, I would think that they want to see them not just against that level of competition, but there's more focus than on the college guys because all of these high school players' seasons have been done for so long. So Leiter and Rocker, I would think that there would be more attention for. I'm not sure about. I mean, it's interesting because you have a chance to gain more data on college players. It's funny. As soon as I'm done with you, I'm taping an interview about this very subject for our pregame show tomorrow with the Diamondbacks assistant general manager who oversees scouting. And these are some of the questions that I have for him and how this has changed, how the fact that you can see the entire college season may impact it. What, if any, impact this draft league has, how you're able to, now gain more information going into this draft after a year with very little on the college players. So, and very little background on a number of these college players because they coming into this year because they only played a dozen games or whatever last year. So I don't know how it's going to play out yet, but I am really curious to see myself exactly, what it means for what kind of heat you have at a super regional and at the College World Series that you wouldn't have otherwise because the draft is until the Sunday before the All-Star game.
Mike, sports media nerd question for you. And I don't know if you guys talked about this the week that I was off last month or the month before when ESPN re-upped for just like Sunday Night Baseball, and that's basically it. What do you think is going to happen with the midweek games? And what should this tell us about Major League Baseball, if anything? Because I know a few years ago we were talking about television ratings and contract and the national deal and what that could mean for the money of the sport moving forward. Should this tell us anything that they still don't have a suitor?
Well, I don't think that's the case. I think what it is that they're getting the same money out of ESPN, but what all the networks value are postseason games.
I thought it went down. My bad.
No, I think it's the same amount of money, but it's fewer games. It's fewer regular season games, but in conjunction with it, ESPN gets all the postseason. Maybe it went down a little bit. It's within spitting distance. I think MLB probably is looking at it as an opportunity to sell a midweek package to a streaming service. So, Amazon is in the sports gig game now, right? They're going to have NFL broadcasts and they've already been paired with NBA TV. And I think there's some other, there are a couple of other, spots that they could go. I guess theoretically Netflix or, YouTube, they've been running a game of the week anyway. So I think there's an opportunity to sell another package and end up with more money out of the split of those two than anything else. But so I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens, and it probably just takes a little bit longer because you're creating a new market versus, re-upping at the three places that you've been carrying most of your games in Turner and Fox. And Turner and Fox, by the way, are paying a significant amount more for their games than what ESPN is, but nobody's watching a national game of the week really on a Wednesday night. So your local broadcast is on too. So
that's right.
Right now it's $700 million per year. It'll go to $550, but yeah, you're right. It's obviously fewer games with more money per game is what he is.
And you can make that up, like Mike said, with a YouTube or an Amazon or a Netflix or Ferrin.
Dogecoin, Stibbs TV.
Stibbs TV. Stibbs TV is good. Yeah. We were just talking college baseball in a couple of hours. Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball will be joining us here on the program. Would you
Ketchup TV? I believe it's his streaming service.
Would you like to? Do you have any messages for Kendall that we can play back for him in the 5 o'clock hour?
No.
None?
Why do I want to talk to Kendall? I was actually texting with him yesterday after Tracy Smith got let go at ASU. So I'm trying to pump him for information on who's going to get that job. It won't be me.
It won't be. Okay. Please say it also won't be Will Bolt. We don't want those rumors starting either.
Well, I would like to start those rumors.
Oh, no, I shouldn't have said anything. Now it's starting again.
Now I'm going to text Kendall and have him mention Will Bolt. I think much more likely, like TJ Bruce at Nevada is a good name. I think, he put Nate Yeske in there. I've known Nate for a long time, who's now at U of A. Like, I love Nate. I think that'd be a great hire. I think Andy Stankiewicz at Grand Canyon. I think those are probably your guys more than Will Bolt. But, it's just because the NCAA was out to get Nebraska again this year, right?
Hey, we got too many conspiracies, one at a time. Last night it was because the umpire was from Arkansas. Let's
stay, of course.
Yeah. So just one at a time, one conspiracy at a time. All right, Mike Ferrin, Sirius XM, MLB Radio. Thanks for the time, and I I'm sad. I was hoping you'd throw a little taunting phrase out there for Kendall, and then we can make fun of him in 5 o'clock.
Oh no, I think just you can say that if you asked if I had anything to say to him, and he said no. It's all about the delivery.
Pretty hard.
It is pretty hard. Mm-hmm. All right, Mike, have a great one. We'll talk to you.
We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
There he is, Mike Ferrin, Sirius XM MLB Radio and the Diamondbacks Radio Network. We've got more to come here on Sportsmanlike Conduct. There was this was pretty funny yesterday. So, we're getting close to the All-Star game, and that means, they're getting out the vote, vote for your favorite players, blah, blah, blah. And so there's a giant poster outside of Great American Ballpark, the home of the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
And it's a poster of Nick Castellanos, the outfielder for the Reds. Remember this incident from a couple of months ago when he crossed the plate?
Oh, yeah.
And kind of stood over. Was it? I don't think it was Yadi Molina, but it was like a Cardinal pitcher covering at the plate, and he's kind of flexing over him and yelling. Well, they used that visual, and you can see just enough of the Cardinal player in the picture, and behind it says "Let's go."
Are people mad?
Apparently, someone was mad, probably in Major League Baseball, because they have since covered up the bottom of the picture where you could see the Cardinal player, and now you can just see the upper body of Nick Castellanos yelling, and it says "Let's go," and then it says "Vote Reds." So they changed the poster.
Sad. It's still a good picture.
It's a great picture. Yeah. And it looks like he actually could be yelling, Let's
go! Like
when
Tom Brady.
When in that moment, he was probably yelling something derogatory about the guy's mother.
Perhaps.
Which is why he got suspended for 2 games. Mm-hmm. Well, coming up, college football playoff expansion talk.
The story that never ends.
The story.
It'll end someday.
That never ends. Also, Michael Bruntz will join us.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about the end of the season for Nebraska baseball. Will it be a hostile atmosphere if Arkansas makes it to Omaha?
I have an answer.
Well, we'll get that answer coming up here on Unsportsmanlike Conduct and 1620 The Zone.